Dr. Pollock, great to be here with you today. For starters, would love to just hear your name, where you live, and your specialty and role.
Perfect. I am Sarah Pollock. I am an OBGYN, and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina with Atrium Health. I am the site-based medical director of my practice,
Great.
Eastover.
And Sarah, what did your life look like before coaching?
Yeah, so I was new to my role, and I'm generally, I'm not a new grad, but I've been out for about 5 years, and so new to the leadership space and having not a lot of background besides being like a chief resident, and then being an attending for a few years. So new to this leadership role and sort of not a lot of direction from previous kind of leaders because it's kind of a new space. And so having, just guidance from the internet and things like that. So I really needed someone one-on-one. That's what I was really looking for when I came to the coaching.
Definitely. And being new to the space, what were those challenges that you were facing, or I guess what did it look and feel like to feel maybe unprepared or just unseasoned as a leader?
Yeah, there were a lot of kind of difficult conversations among, providers or understanding workflow and having, so there was a lot of the challenges came with, organization, with work-life balance, with having a good, just in general balance between my clinical side and my leadership side, and then having to build strong relationships among my providers where I used to be, a colleague, and now I am part of the leadership team. And so sort of navigating those waters a little bit was a challenge and just an unfamiliar space for me.
Definitely. And when you talk about maybe especially on the work-life balance front, what were you unable to do that you wish you could, or what impact did
Yeah.
that have kind of on your loved ones and the people around you?
So I have two small children, and I do have family here, which is helpful, but it's hard to sort of, kind of cut between work and home life and trying to give as much to being a mom and as much to being a clinician and as much to being a leader. And so
Yeah.
it's hard to really find that space where I feel like I am, a, I'm doing well at all those things, and
Yeah.
and finding that balance. And what I found nice in coaching is that, that we sort of worked on mindfulness and worked on setting boundaries and allowing me to be a good in all those spaces versus just sort of being pulled in every direction and doing everything lackluster.
Yeah. That's amazing to hear. So in kind of that pathway to coaching, how did you find us? What were your thoughts going through the process, doubts and fears, and then what ultimately led you to say yes?
So I think I found you guys on a leadership, or not a leadership, but a physician, like it was a Facebook group that a bunch of physicians are on. And a few people had mentioned like a bunch of different leadership coaches that they have either worked with or heard good things about. And then I just sort of researched online who I thought would be a good fit. I was looking for someone that was a physician who sort of knew that space well, and then someone that is familiar with working with like working moms and that kind of space as well. I feel like I read somewhere that she might have worked with women's health, or people in that's just a little, or surgeons. Like we have a very different call schedule and clinic pull than some others. So being a busy surgeon plus leader plus physician was something that I was sort of looking towards. And then I met Gail and Dr. Gazelle, and I felt like it felt like a good fit, and she had a lot of experience, which I was looking for.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I needed someone that kind of has been in the space for a while. And I was a little hesitant at first just because I wasn't really sure what to expect. I've sort of like rolled my eyes at some of the mindfulness, like meditation and things like that. And then
Yeah.
you sort of get into realize that it's important to like, it's a really actually important skill to have. And I think it makes me a better clinician and leader just to kind of work
Wow.
on my own well. And then kind of be able to provide that for my providers. So I felt like it was, at first you think it's a little bit, I don't know,
Woo woo.
and it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely adjacent. Like I have a lot of, that kind of thing. But so I felt like that was a little hesitant for me, but I really have enjoyed the time, and I felt like I've gotten a lot of good skill out of it.
It's amazing. Um, well, kind of moving to the present day, what are you able to do now that you couldn't do before? Where are you at now? What are the big changes you've seen since going through this process?
Yeah, I feel like that one of the hardest things was the difficult conversations piece of it. As far as like, I feel like right when I met Gail, I was doing somehow I was having a lot of these things that were like there's a lot of changes going on, and so we kind of what I found that she was like she helped me develop like my own protocol essentially, like my own way of thinking through and how to create space for the provider that's having something that we're having to work through while also like providing some guardrails and some background, and so but working through that in like a very like structured pattern so that I was able to make those conversations less daunting for me and also more effective for the provider. And so I feel like that was really important. And then I've just felt like my work life balance is easier. I feel
Wow.
like I'm more kids, and I'm able to put work down and you know provide that boundary. And then when I can, but I haven't found that it's that boundary has made any negative impact at work, which I thought it would, which is great. So it's one of those things where
It's amazing.
you want to be everything for everybody, and then you realize if I've set a boundary, I'm doing better, and work is fine, and they're not missing me at 8 p.m. when I shouldn't be doing work anyways. So
Yeah. And your family is probably very happy to see you at home.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, what would you tell someone who's watching this right now and they've heard about coaching, they thought about it, but they're not sure about taking that next step?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an investment in something that is important for your I just feel like I've been a better clinician and more and less stressed, and I just feel like for your burnout, having someone in your pocket and as like your personal advocate and working through all your stuff is especially in like we're doing some you're and you're going through all the work-life balance, you have a family at home, it's so important to have someone that helps you work through that or you're going to get burned out. And I think it's absolutely worth the investment given all the stuff I've gotten out of it. So